What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sports Jedi Network TNA review. TNA just concluded from first time ever in Minnesota in the Armory. Ready to go for it. But first, let me say what's up to my co-host who's joining me here, the one and only PGA Chris. What's up, man?
What up? What up? Yeah, it was a good show. I didn't think it was bad first time Minnesota, and then another live impact. So always good to see the live ones.
It's a good live impact. A lot of good stuff here. We get the start of the show, which they have all the TNA champions come out to the front. I don't know if this made it. Right, we saw this on the TNA Plus. I don't know if it was on YouTube or all the other platform access TV, where they're going to donate 100% of the proceeds to the Catholic school, the charity there for all the T-shirts. Great job by TNA. I like when they do things like that. They get it correctly done, as we got for TNA tonight. I like that. I love when TNA does things with the community, with the wrestling world, and good job there. We open up the show with Santino coming out to make an announcement. He making an announcement that he was interrupted, that had implication for Bound for Glory, where Trick Williams had his lawyer, and he never got to finish his sentence. He made a little bit of a comedic with his cobra that they don't like. He don't like when his cobra, when he has to take out his cobra and show it. But he gets to the main reason why he came out there. He's announcing for Bound for Glory. Trick Williams is going to take on Mike Santana. We finally get our guy,
Yes.
and Nuestro Campeón Mike Santana going one-on-one. Finally against Trick Williams. Your thoughts?
I loved it. Obviously Trick's not there right now, but we knew Santino was gonna make the announcement last week. It got interrupted, so I'm very very excited that Mike Santana finally gets his one-on-one match with Trick for the title. There's a good chance he's winning it. Hopefully, no outside shenanigans happen where they throw somebody in last minute, which it doesn't seem like they're going to. So that's great. That's great. I love what they're doing with that. And then we're gonna see, Santana's been showing up on NXT a lot, so they're doing a good job of building it. This is gonna be their main thing going in to Bound for Glory. This is most likely gonna be their main event if it's not the Hardys in 3D. So well done. Well done. I liked it. Santana comes out there, talks, gets the crowd hyped up, and I'm ready. I'm ready. I think my question has been answered from a couple weeks ago. I think we're on the right track.
You asked that question in a couple weeks. Mike Santana does come out, and you hear the crowd. This time he has the crowd on him. We talked about when Mike Santana will come out, you will hear a little bit of not too much of a loud cheer before Bound for Glory, and we were a little worried because we heard "We Believe" more with Joe, and this time around in Minneapolis, Minnesota, we heard "New Champ." We heard the crowd chanting "New Champ" with Mike Santana, which I like. When Mike Santana heard it, the crowd, he let it breathe. We all heard it over the television. The crowd is ready, and I think now that going forward, at least for Minnesota, we're going to see whenever Mike comes out, they're going to want to cheer for Mike Santana. Also, here's the one thing that I think TNA is doing a good job with NXT. Together, collaborating. I don't think we're going to see Trick Williams for a while on TNA Impact Zone. Well, why is that a good thing? Because you're not going to hear whoop that trick. Remember, this is a TNA. Wherever they go to TNA town, they're not going to get the NXT experience. So when you get a Trick Williams to see that introduction, they're going to want to sing along, and they're going to want to say whoop that trick, and that's a smart thing of them saying that, where Trick is not going to come on to their television. It's not going to be on TNA Impact Zone for that reason, because you want to build Mike Santana when you want everyone going to Bound for Glory, at least 70-30 going for Mike Santana. So good job on there. And Mike says, you hiding like he said that he cursed. He says, we're hiding like a bitch, like we say in the Bronx. And you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna come to you, and he's saying he's gonna end up at NXT. You're definitely gonna see him in that Full Sail show. You know that Mike Santana is gonna show up at that Full Sail show, and
Yes.
there's gonna be some type of interaction there, which is gonna be great, because when you see him in Full Sail, people are want to cheer Mike Santana because there is a lot of Boricuas in Orlando.
I agree. I agree, and I think this is good for him teasing that he's gonna be there. Um, I think the NXT crowd is gonna be excited, and again, he's gotten well, he's received well, good cheers, all that stuff when he's been out in the NXT crowd. So I think the NXT crowd's gonna be excited to see Santana if he does show up in that Full Sail, which is looking like it's gonna happen most likely. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he comes out, interrupts tricks, or maybe something backstage. But either way, I think we'll see him on Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll definitely see him either this Tuesday or that TNA that Tuesday, where probably see him this Tuesday to set up a match at that Full Sail. I don't know, tag team,
Like a
whatever
tag
Panic
team
Rules
with
is.
like him and AJ,
Yeah,
and then him
something
and Moose, Santana and Moose, and then him and AJ or something.
something along those lines there. We get a backstage with Gia Miller with Marty Sadé and the Hardys. They're talking about their main event matchup against Agent Zero, of course, Skylar Hotch and Tasha Steele. Talking about what it wasn't cool for Agent Zero to put his hands on Mara Sadé, and they're going to get revenge tonight. So that's going to set up the match for later in that night. We were supposed to get Matt Cardona versus Frankie Kazarian next, but just like we get a back before they go on a commercial break, we get a backstage promo or an interruption with AJ Francis talking to Trick William on the phone, where you see Moose actually stops Mike Santana and congratulates him. Go get him. Go. You know what? I've been in the ring with both of you, and I know for sure you're bringing that title back. So he gives a vote of confidence to Mike Santana. AJ Francis come out talking to Trick Williams, and it sets up a match next week. It's going to be Moose versus the one and only AJ Francis. That, like you said, we might see something bleeding into NXT where they might team up as a tag team. Remember, NXT is going to be more live. Next week will be a taped, and then there'll be a couple weeks taped before they do another fresh set of matches before Victory Road for TNA. Then we finally get into the ring, the Cardona versus Frankie Kazarian match, but we get interrupted by the young little brother of the Hollywood hunks, Ryan Nemeth, letting us know that his big brother Nick will be on later tonight. So he should be there tonight. Cardona interrupts, tell him to get the hell out of the ring. They have a back and forth. Cardona hits him with the microphone over the head. And of course, throws him out of the ring. And Kazarian and Cardona has the match. But during the match, we see Ryan Nemeth all outside getting attention, getting medical attention or being checked up by the officials. Um, I thought the match between Frankie Kazarian and Mark Cardona was good. That's the first time those two ever wrestled. That was a really good, solid match back and forth. I know there was a spot on the outside where Ryan Nemeth is there and Frankie Kazarian used him as a shield, and Cardona still laid it onto Nemeth. So there was a little comedy. There was some good back and forth of Frankie Kazarian always getting the crowd warmed up or a lot of heat with the crowd. Ryan Nemeth caused the interference where Kazarian hits fade to black for the victory, goes over Matt Cardona. Good match. You know what? It's a really good match that they placed it on the card, and I really enjoy those two veterans working in the ring.
I agree as well. Matt Cardona, he was really over in that match too.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot of people really enjoyed Cardona. Thought it was a really great match. Two veterans who have been in this business for a while. And, it wasn't one of those matches. It was very hard hitting. It was very technical. Those what those guys are good at. Uh, and I like, Kazarian, what he's doing next. I talked about that I'm not gonna get too far ahead, but I like what he's doing next. But I
no,
thought the match was really good. I thought it was really good, and I like Cardona. He adds something great to TNA in his matches. So great to see Frankie and Cardona. It was a really good match between two veterans in the business.
and as soon as that match is over, we get Gia Miller comes down to ringside for that special interview where she gets stopped taking the microphone away from her. Frankie Kazarian says, "Let me tell you how to conduct an interview," and you're starting to see a little bit of hints of Gia Miller with the deer in the headlights, ready to snap. They've been
Yes.
teasing that with Gia Miller with that she stays, and they did that with the Hardys. Also, when she finished that interview, she stood staring and getting that deers in the headlights. Something is ticking with Gia Miller. There's a storyline with it. We all know it's going to be something down the road with Tessa. You know, Tessa put her hands on her, and this is what's leading to maybe Gia Miller getting physical with Tessa when she returns. But they teased it again there with Frankie Kazarian taking the microphone, says, "Let me show you how to really conduct an interview. Let me show you how to do your job." They tease back and Kazarian teased how interviewing himself, called the marks what's next, and he said world title, but he first said I want the international title. He calls out Steve Macklin. He calls him just insults him. Steve Macklin, he doesn't take crap from no one. He coming right out. He goes beelining right to the middle of the ring. He takes the title. He says he draws the line, or he says hold the line. He puts the title in the middle of the TNA logo and says, "Come on, you want some, get some." In all, I'm paraphrasing, and Kazarian chicken shit rolls away. I like it. Retreats, but we look like we're setting up Kazarian Macklin international title. You know what? Sign me up. I'm for it. Let's go. I want to see those two.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, I love it. Those titles, that title should be for people in that the Steve Macklins, Cardonas, the Frankie Kazarians, Eric Youngs. So I like that they added that title. The digital media title kind of went away there for reasons, and they kind of revamped another title scene for the company, and I think it's really good because you want the guys have been there for a while, like Frankie, to still, make the most out of what he has left, number one, but get him in some spotlight and some gold around his waist or opportunity for that. So I love it.
I agree with you there. When they come back, they get a promo. We go to a promo with the inspirations, talking about them climbing here on the being the number one contenders for the TNA Knockouts title. Still, it's like something's still missing off with the inspirations, but their claim to fame are they won last week, so they are the number one contenders for those TNA knockouts on the Elegance brand. So keep an eye out for them. They're coming for them. And speaking of the Elegance brand, we go to the Elegance celebration, where we of course you have the setup with the portrait that gets revealed later on. If you can see it's hidden, you see the champagne, all that, as Ash comes out as the savior of TNA. She comes down getting her flowers, starts talking about how she did this. The crowd was a little Rick's reaction. There was a lot of baby faces. They liked her. They wanted to give her props, but they also remember, wait a minute, she's still a heel. We still got to boo her. But they were appreciative that she bought the title back for TNA. Then Marsha Slamovich crashes the party because he kind of calls her out, says, you didn't win. Marsha comes out, crashes the party, says that she has an announcement. Santino Marella, he's out there like Oprah Winfrey. You get a title shot. You get a title shot. You get a title shot. Yeah. Marsha gets another title shot at Victory Road. I had some questions with that. That's her third opportunity at the title. I mean, you failed twice, I believe, already, or three. Is it going to be third time or three? I'm all right. You want to put that for Victory Road? I kind of say, where's JC Jane's rematch? She didn't get pinned as a champion. I know people don't like it, but you have to be honest. JC deserves a rematch. She never got pinned to lose her Knockouts title, and she should be the one in there staking a claim one-on-one against Ash. But that's the way wrestling goes. Marsha crashes the party. The numbers game. Out comes Ying Lee. Zaya Brookside come in to try to even up the score. Things get out of hand, control. They look like they're going to break the portrait. Champagne was poured into the eyes of Marsha Slamovich. Out comes the Iconics, where it felt weird because you already had numbers game. Now the babyface outnumbered the heels, which they got out of hightail. It kind of weird, and it kind of went a little south. I was like, ugh. Then Ash put a tantrum in the outside. The tantrum looked kind of weird. Chris, your thoughts on that one? That went bad.
It didn't make sense for, I would say, Ying Lee and Zaya Brookside, because we got to remember M and Heather, they still do have the knockouts title, so I can see them at least coming out to even the odds for Masha. But I don't understand what Zaya Brookside and Ying Lee keep doing in getting themselves involved. They're not the number one contenders for the knockouts titles. They're not gonna them align themselves with the inspiration. They're both baby faces. It's two baby faces against one heel. It really doesn't make sense to me why they're out there. I don't know why all four of them are out there. This was supposed to be Ash, a celebration with Ash. If you wanted Masha to come out, that's fine because she's going to be the number one contender, which, whatever. I mean, you build up Indi. Who else do you have? It is getting a little repetitive. I agree with that, but I guess you got to build up Indi, and there's no one really there. My only problem with JC Jane is she still is the NXT Women's Champion, and I think she can't take a pin one-on-one. So if she were to get like a rematch clause, I think the best way, in my opinion, at least, would to be a triple threat. Not another one, but at least that way she doesn't have to take the pin. But I don't know, maybe she could use that to get another rematch. So it's kind of tricky with JC Jane. Um, but I agree she should still have another chance to fight at the title in some capacity. Uh, but I don't know. It's gonna be. I think Masha might win that title again at Victory Road. I don't see Ash by unless Ash is gonna take that title into Bound for Glory, which could happen. I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, but then who are you gonna build? Then we're gonna get Indi and Ash. Okay, but what's the better match? Masha and Indi or Indi and Ash? I
I don't
think it's
know.
Masha and Indi,
I
in my
I'm
opinion.
I even throw you a curveball. I think it'll be JC and Indy.
I agree with 100%. That's the better match. I'm not doubting that at all. I just think with Ash, she's going to be the one going into Bound for Glory with that title. That's my
Here's
only thing. But I agree. JC Jane and Indi would be the match I would want at Bound for Glory.
here's the curveball I throw you. Victory Road is 2 days before No Mercy in Fort Lauderdale. That
Okay.
where I could see that title could be changed there. The knockouts, and then you could ping pong it for another 12 days back to TNA again if they want to go there. I don't know if they want
Okay.
to hot potato it or not, but we'll find out. That segment did not hit, but then we went to a promo with Mustafa Ali warning any group, any ones that want to cross the order 4, they will be taken down. The system will get taken care of. They will get they'll definitely be shut down. And Mustafa Ali sent a warning to anyone that wants to come after the order 4. I love that because he went back to his politician group on the podium, and he's kind of a state of a union address when it comes to order 4. Mustafa Ali does his great work when he does those promos on like that. I loved it. I was invested because you're setting up that big clash with the system and order 4 and Moose, Agent Zero, those two behemoth in later down the road. You don't have to rush it. You could slow burn it. I loved it there. Now we get to the part that I'm a little confused because Marsha Slamovich went to Santino and got that rematch clause or that match for at Victory Road. But then we have a number 1 contenders match on the triple threat between Luna, Joni Threat, and Indi Hartwell. Now, this is, of course, we know that Spitfires break up. We've seen Dani Luna completely heel, unhinged. She just wants to take care, knock out all her opponents because she wants that knockouts title opportunity. Indi Hartwell gets the victory on Jody Threat on a couple of roll-ups back and forth, similar to the Joe Hendry, Mike Santana with the roll-ups after roll-ups. They get the finish there. Indi Hartwell wins. Dani Luna was thrown out of the ring. Then, right when those sequence happens, she comes back in the ring, opens up a can of whoop ass on Indi Hartwell. But of course, establishing that she's a sore loser heel, Indi Hartwell. And before the match started, Gia Miller announced the winner of this will go to Bound for Glory to number 1 contenders at Bound for Glory. So it's kind of like a mini tournament when it comes to the TNA knockout scenery for the women. We got 2 matches. Winner of that one of Victory Road takes on the number 1 contender at Bound for Glory. So it's kind of like a small tournament. You know what? It's different, Chris. I like it. I still
So do
think
I.
I think No Mercy still has a little implication. They don't want to get ahead of themselves because they haven't built it on NXT television. So I'm pretty sure on NXT television, I could hear JC say, "I never lost my knockouts title." So wait for that. Wait for that. I think at No Mercy, she's going to get an opportunity on NXT television to try to get, or on the PLE, that knockouts opportunity. You also want to put TNA representation on your NXT pay-per-view PLE with No Mercy. So that's another way of putting that there because you're not, I don't think Trick is going to defend his title at
No.
No Mercy. So I think you're gonna have the knockouts there. I could see that going forward.
Yes.
So interesting to see on that where that goes. Eric Young, they rehashed the Eric Young promo from last week about starting the cleanse on Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry comes out, cuts a promo, talks about how he was on. You say his name, he is everywhere. He was on the WWE European tour, taking on the Miz. On NXT television with Hank and Tank. He calls out Eric Young, find out what's the issue with Eric Young. If he's got a problem, come face him face to face. Eric Young comes out with his Northern Armory. And of course, he talks about he's going to be the first one for a cleanse. It sets up Joe Henry wants a match tonight. He's in gear, ready to go. Eric Young, typical heel, says, "Not tonight. We'll do it next week, brother." That's what's the guy will work for me. Where he says Joe Henry will be the first one to be cleansed. I think they're running an angle that Eric Young is going to run off Joe Hendry to the WWE, pretty much ending his career or ending his TNA career, where an old time veteran like an Eric Young is just going to cleanse TNA with him out the door. I wouldn't be surprised if it even helps Santana some way somehow take hit Trick Williams to Windows to take those TNA titles. That's the cleanse. They're trying to cleanse themselves from all the outsiders, from TNA, from NXT, and all that stuff. So interesting to see where that goes. Those two next week on a match there. You get a backstage, which I thought was a little. I'm more confused with this than clarification. Santino Marella talking to Leon Slater, talking about all these different that of course, great to hear that Trey Miguel is back. He's cleared, ready to go into action. Also, Zachary Wentz. He also mentioned who else he mentioned? He mentioned one more wrestler. Oh, Jake something, and they're all going to take a part of this X division. Where what is it? Is there going to be a fatal four way? The what's like that X division title? The Ultimate X. What? They never said any clarity. I felt confused. Like okay, and Leon was like, yeah, it was.
Oh, I never remember. I didn't even realize that.
They never mentioned what kind of match would it be. How is he going to determine a number one contender for Leon Slater? So that's to be continued. That felt a little off. We get to the main event now. Of course, Order 4 versus Hardys and Mara Sadé. Mara Sadé coming out, of course, inspired under the Lita. Looks like Lita gear going out there. Look, the match was a real good match. Hardys always plays the hits. The crowd always loves to hear them. You hear the pop that the Hardys get. Everyone on their feet, loving the Hardys, standing ovation. The Raw of the Hardys, they're super over here in 2025 still for TNA. The match was a really good match where, of course, you saw Mara Sadé hit a moonsault like leader off the, on. And, of course, they get the victory. The baby faces go over. The main thing was that at the end of the match, when they celebrating to the crowd, out come the Nemeths, both Ryan and Nick. And, of course, they hit their side effect. They have not the side effect, the famous boom, and of course danger zone, excuse me, not the danger zone on the Hardys, and we go off the air, them streaming tall, raising the tag team titles. What do you think this is going to happen? You think they're I know Nick told us on our program, on our channel when we interviewed him, that he has a rematch clause. Of course, he's been suspended and they've been prolonging it. It looks like Victory Road. Victory Road, I see the Nemeths versus the Hardys getting and the Nemeths getting their rematch.
I could see them getting their rematch at Victory Road. I kind of mentioned this before. It's gonna be interesting on how they play it, because if they do want to take the titles off the Nemeths, maybe you could wait till after. I don't know now at this point, right? You're gonna have to do it sooner than later. So I could see them doing this at Victory Road, and I like the way they kind of not teased, but like they made us wait for Nic Nemeth to come back because he didn't come out right when Ryan announced it. It kept us thinking, when's he gonna come out? Is he here or not? So that I like that, and I think Jakara Jackson, her taking the bumps from the men 2 weeks in a row. I mean, that's great. That's great. She's really, she's gonna do good things in TNA. I think TNA will be good for her to get her kind of what's the best way to put it? Like comfortable being by herself, not with a tag team. even though she's kind of still doing tag team, but she's gonna do a lot more singles. So, and she's not with Lash, right? So, not that that's a bad thing, but she's gonna learn how to be by herself, and she can get over alone. Um, so I like that. I like this concept. I like the match, and I like the Nemeths coming out. So we'll see what that leads up to. But I think ultimately it's going to be the Nemeths and the Hardys at Victory Road. Obviously, the Hardys will win, and then maybe they run it back down the road down the line. But um, that's that's a tough one. That's a tough one because the Nemeths are going to lose the first one, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know what other tag teams could step up right after.
I'm gonna say something, but first I want to give shout out to Mara Sadé because she took a hell of a clothesline last week and a freaking
Yeah,
super kick
I
that
keep
I
butchering that
buried the leg.
name.
That I yeah, I'm having a hard time with it too, Mara Sadé. But yeah, I know. But
Me too.
what a hell of a super kick that Nic Nemeth laid on her. I mean, my goodness, it looked great on television. Of course, Nic Nemeth, the pro, one of the pros, and he just nailed her with it. And then her selling at the end of that shot where she's holding, looking like she thought she was bleeding through her nose. Her looking to, there was no blood, but you you ever get in your nose, you think you're leakage, you think you're
Yes.
gonna bleed, you're bleeding, and she sold it perfect. I love that for Mara Sadeh and for Nemeth with her. I know some people have a little bit cringe or worries about when they mix genders with some certain moves. I understand it. I get it. I also, yeah, don't want to do that. Next week I don't need Mara to take another bump from another male. Now
Mhm.
you're getting to the borderline of, now he's becoming, she's not a punching bag either. So hopefully those bumps with her stay away now. Now we don't need to see her every week or often take those bumps right now. That's it. First one's to establish Agent Zero. Tonight was to establish that Nic Nemeth attacked the Hardys, but she got into the face of Nic Nemeth. She could get some too. So that's all. Don't know. Hopefully, no more bumps for her. Again, I could see in a world where the Hardys drop the title to the Nemeths at Victory Road, because now you go to Bound for Glory, the two greatest tag teams, no titles needed to just settle the title of the best tag teams in the world. If they want to put the Dudleys over, they don't, because last thing we want to see is the Dudleys win the TNA tag team titles and prolong this. No, but we don't need it. We don't need it because look what happened to House of Glory. Bully Ray had the title won a month ago and he lost it in 40 seconds to Zila Fatu because, like, listen, at the end of the day, he's older gentleman. He's not going to go. He could go, but not at a high work rate for the young. He had his time. It's great. Those nostalgic matches don't need titles. We if they want to give us 20 minutes for no titles involved, I'm for it. But if there's a title match, we don't need to see that because we don't have that. We don't need implication of them possibly winning and prolonging them in the ring. But Devon is not healthy to go a long schedule, so it's a one-off. And if they want to give them, the Hardys want to do the right thing, we'll lose to the Hall of Famers, both, Team DD. There's no titles. Nemeth's got the title, and we're off and running. I won't be
I would
surprised
like
if that
that.
happens too.
No, I would like that. I would like that. It actually gives a kind of a curiosity on who actually is going to win it.
Yeah, but
So
all in all, TNA was good.
It was solid.
I'm gonna make this one thing though. Sometimes some of the tape shows have been stronger than tonight's live show. Doesn't mean it wasn't. Again, TNA, it wasn't a bad show, but I thought that certain things when it kind of felt like a tape show, and that's a good thing for TNA because if you we couldn't tell the difference between a live and one of your tape shows, that's a great job because it felt the same pace and the same work rate. One thing I did miss, maybe because I live in Orlando and I go there, I did miss some TNA influence, NXT influence. I did kind of miss some NXT influence. You kind of need a little bit of it because NXT, you could tell they're a little more superior in their promo skills, and you could see the coaching, and that sometimes helps elevate the TNA program with the team, with the NXT talent at times. But all in all, was a good Charlotte show. Went 2 hours, but I thought Really good one. Also, remember they were competing with NFL football. That's another one. That was a tough one to garner audience. So interesting to see what then the final numbers are going to do on YouTube and so forth. But good job there. Kudos for TNA. Hopefully we get some more live in the future. And I know they're striving to be coming live each and every week, and we're all for it. We're ready to go. So that is our NXT TNA review. I keep saying NXT because I missed some of the 10 NXT wrestlers. TNA review here. Solid show. I could give it a good 7.5 to 8. Really good show. Of course, it was very entertaining. It opened up the card for both Victory Road and Bound for Glory, and that's what you want with a TV show. Also, want you to watch next week for some of the matches that are coming up. So we appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for the review, for watching along with us. Also here for this review. Don't forget, check out our interviews with past TNA wrestlers. We had recently Frankie Kazarian. We had check out Carlos Silva, Nic Nemeth, Mike Santana, and many more to come. So we appreciate everyone. Don't forget, follow Chris at PGH Chris TV on X and on Instagram, and of course Sports Jedi Media on X. And we'll see you next time. Tomorrow night we'll be on playback for SmackDown. It's going to be a huge one. We might do a review. We might do an emergency review depending on who and what happens on SmackDown. I don't know yet. But with that said, guys, it's a Feel Good Friday. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you.